the switch out of that. Okay. The sands is our regrind. It is our common area.
Okay.
It's all of it.
Okay.
And the Avamar is the back.
Okay.
It's still part of our
So it's
experience.
a backup storage.
But no, it is the storage.
Oh, dust.
And then Avamar is the backup to the sands.
Gotcha. Hey, just sit up front by Megan. Oh.
Hours.
Hey, Sherry, let's put it, let's, every chair.
So, let's switch.
Hey, there's my discount.
You're missing out with that? So, I need to plug the USB in to the USB port.
HDMI, HDMI. Okay, so I have,
My bag in just a minute.
I have a power.
So as long as Keith has it. Okay.
It's got a video embedded in it.
Okay.
Can I give him my laptop? Yeah, he can switch. Okay.
You can switch and then you could do that, because that'll make it easier because of the way I've got things set up.
Why don't I internet? Restart. That's not a good thing. It's not.
I was having trouble with the machine. But if you're having, but because I thought it was my problem. But if you're having trouble,
Mine.
Welcome, everyone, to board meetings tonight. Thank you all for coming. We have a big group. That's great. We'll begin tonight. Yes. Oh, okay, okay. Give us just a couple minutes and we'll be beginning. You're starting here in just a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, I could, yeah.
Okay, we'll begin tonight. We'll have our reverence by Superintendent Carlson, then our flag salute and pledge of allegiance by Nancy Kennedy, a board member, and then our recognitions by Julie Taylor, a board member, and we'll go from there.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful tonight for the opportunity to participate in public education and the school board meeting and all the great things that happen in conjunction with public education, especially tonight being able to honor some great people who work for the school district. And we're grateful, Father, that we get to work in a business where we get to help and shape and mold young lives, and we get to work with great people that are all with the same mindset that want to help those young folks and help us through the night to make good decisions and to be able to hear the voices of the people in the community that help lead and guide the decisions that are made all the time. And at the end of this meeting, we pray for the safety of everyone as they go home, and we pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a few recognitions tonight. The first one is for our TSA Tech. Let me make sure I understand. Technology Student Association, I think is what it's called. They had a competition, and we had multiple state winners. So I'm going to read this letter that I written to the advisors and the students there, and then I'll list the names. There's a lot of really great things that happened. So. Dear Ben Kunzler, Jim Baker, and our amazing TSA students, congratulations on your performance at the Technology Student Association State Competition. Thank you for all the time and dedication that was invested into have such a successful and hopefully fun competition. I gotta rewrite this letter, that's a typo. Okay, placing in the top 3 in 16 categories, including the top spot in 7, is incredible. We know there's an immense amount of preparation that happens. We appreciate the students, advisors, parents, and other staff members who are involved and go the extra mile. We're excited to see these students expand their skills and knowledge. From the amount of awards that you all won, it looks like we have the premier program in the state. Keep up the good work. And let me just list all of these winners because it's pretty impressive. So there are 16 categories. And like I said, they took first in 7 of those, and they placed top 3 in all 16 of them. So pretty amazing. So in biotechnology, there were 4 students. Chloe Ann Christensen, Colin Turner, Kat Kunzler, and Hallie Hancock got first. Challenging the issue, first place was Lucilia Johnson and Justice Richardson. In data science and analytics, first was Kat Kunzler, Chloe Ann Christensen. Digital photography first was Kat Kunzler. Inventions and innovations first was Lucilia Johnson, Justice Richardson, Jonathan Rasmussen, Tragan Jones. In structural engineering, they got first. It was Abe Anderson and Nolan Harrison. And in blogging, they got first, which was Chloe Ann Christensen, Colin Turner, and Kat Kunzler. Other students that placed in second or third, I won't read all of the different there's a lot. It's pretty amazing. I want to go see what this is all about. So I see what they're doing because I'm like, I don't understand. Junior solar sprint. I mean, that sounds kind of fun, right? The Eduardo Cervantes, Patrick Heiser, Derek Spangenberg, and James Zobel, Indy Fifield, Charlie Caldwell. I'm seeing if I missed any students because a lot of them are on several teams. James Kirsting, and I think I got Justice Richardson. So anyhow, we're really excited about them. Are any of them here or the advisors? Well, if you see them or know them, I don't know, they're like 9th through 12th grade, I'm thinking. Is that anyhow, fantastic. We're excited for them. And I will rewrite that letter. Our second recognition is Nicole Nelson. Is she here? Oh, okay. Well, that's a better place to be than here. But Nicole Nelson received an award from the Utah State Board of Education for a science of reading. So that this is I think last year was the first time they had this award, but there is, unbeknownst to me, and maybe some of you, there is actually a science to learning how to read, and I'm glad I'm not the elementary teacher that has to teach them how to do it because it sounds really hard. But she received the award. It's given to very few teachers, And in order to receive this honor, she needed to examine and adjust reading instruction based on data to advance the reading outcomes of students in her school. And she went above and beyond to implement the science of reading in instruction and interventions. And one of the things that Mrs. Crane at her principal, Amy Jo Summers was the one who nominated her, who was the instructional coach. And Vanessa Crane said she was observed by State Board of Education members and was selected as a, so that's kind of intimidating, her teacher and State Board of Education people are observing. So she had to implement these instructions and do all of these things. And there are only 2 to 3 in the entire state. So she is amazing. And we just wanted to congratulate Nicole Nelson for that great honor as well.
Hey, thank you, Julie. Appreciate that. Did we have any others, superintendent? Or?
Heidi Joe, is Mr. Story here? Okay.
Okay.
Austin, step up here to the. There you go. This is Austin Story. And right now, why don't you tell us about yourself and where you are right now, maybe a little bit, introduce your family a little bit, and just tell us where you're going to be next year.
Okay. I'm Austin Story. Sorry I haven't talked to you guys. We'll get with that. Oh, my side.
It is on, yeah. You're talking to the board. The folks just get to watch the public meetings.
I'm Austin Story. This is my wife Kathy, my son Benjamin, and my daughter Catalina. I teach Spanish, Latinos in Action, and Hope Squad. I'll be principal at Lakeville Elementary next year. I'm really excited. We live up in Bear River. We just moved up here a couple of years, and I love the small town feel. I grew up in West Weaver, Utah. You guys know where that's at. Weaver County's kind of blown up into a city, and I like it up here. I'm excited to work with all of you and be up here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We also have Tawny Bocut. Tawny, you want to come up? Not in this situation. Tawny is going to be the intern at Golden Spike, the elementary intern. So she already works with us, but tell us just a little bit about yourself. And
Well, I'm a Box Elder School District gal from age 5, right? Kindergarten on up, and in many capacities. Right now, I'm a math coach, instructional coach at McKinley Elementary. And I'm just so excited to continue to help others, and especially at Golden Spike. It's a wonderful school. So thank you.
thank you. And we do have one more, but he's out of town this week. Oh, Jace, stand up, Jace. Well, I know he didn't. Jace, I'll just, if you want me to, Jace, we have in our school district a program where we have 2 interns in our administrative ranks. One of them's an elementary intern, and that's what Tawny is going to do this year, and that person serves at Golden Spike. We also have a secondary intern, and that person serves up, and they split between Bear River High School and Bear River Middle School. And because of some changes that have gone on, Jace is actually taking a full-time administrative job. Even sounds full-time. He'll be a full-time administrator, but he'll split between Bear River Middle School. I'm sorry, thank you. Box Elder Middle School and Young Intermediate. And he's taking Brandon Nelson's place, who went full-time to the middle school. And so it's just interesting. And just so you know, for both Jace's position and Tawny's position, each year, the last 2 years, that's worked out wonderfully. And we don't like movement in the administrative ranks, but we've had movement for a variety of reasons. And when we do, we've had people that have had a chance to basically practice and work on their skill, and then we move them right into the ranks. So we're very happy to have them. Okay. Oh, really? That's right. Dawn, come on up, Dawn. Forgot. Thank you, Keith. Go ahead and tell us.
I get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't prepare it either.
No.
So yeah, Dawn Richards. I've been up at Bear River High School for 20 years teaching math. have enjoyed it and went back and got my degree and applied this year to be an administrator and received the internship position. So excited to be working where I live and where I love. And so I'm going to split my time between high school and the middle school and hope that I'm really excited to work with all of you. I have before in a lot of things, and I'm super excited to be up there and making a difference.
Next month, that, and I cannot believe this, but his name just left me. Hi, Joe. Ryan Green. Okay, we've talked to him several times. Ryan Green will be here next month. He'll be the new principal at North Park. I can't believe it. All you people got me, and I'm very seldom ever stage struck. Very seldom. So, yes. I turned it off. I thought I'd turned it on. Sorry. So anyway, he'll be here next month, and thank you, folks. We're excited to work with these new people, and we have some great administrators in our district. So thank you very much.
Yes, welcome to all four of you, and we're wishing you the very best of luck and success in the coming year. Thank you. Okay, now we need a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. Okay, Nancy Kennedy has made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll have a second for that.
Okay, Connie Archibald's made the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have tonight's agenda. Now we'll go to our ESP employee recognitions, and that will be presented by Keith Meekham, who is our assistant. Yeah, but that's not till after. Yeah. Keith Meekham, Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Teaching and Learning. And so we'll have Keith do that, and then we'll have public comment after that.
Normally, Mark would do this, but we have somebody that's very experienced. Keith did this for 5 years. Mark is currently recovering from a pretty intense ankle foot surgery. And so he's off his feet.
I'm really excited. I was part of the decision making last 5 years when all of these wonderful recommendations came in. And you're looking like deserving, and all we can choose is one per category. And so it's like, it's really hard, but it is an awesome, this is one of my favorite meetings. And I'm grateful for each of you coming and supporting the good people that work for our district. Our first category is para, and I'd like Linda Burns to come up and kidding. There were so many nice things. I just wanted just some words that describe Linda. Dedicated, devoted, team player, nice, caring, helpful, knowledgeable, great friend, always has the best and happiest attitude. Did I say kind? No, I did not. Kind. Willing to drop everything to help you. They can answer any question you have. Goes up and beyond. She's a hard worker. And another person does go up and beyond. But every student and still has time to help the new parents learn to do what they are supposed to do. We're proud of Linda. We'd like to congratulate her on a job well done. Way to go. I don't know, no. All right. Daleen Allen, come on up. Another pair of I've worked with Daleen very closely, and as I read all of the awesome comments, I'm just like, right on. And there's so much to read, I'm just going to read a couple. Is that okay? You can read it all if your heart's delight tonight. She works with kids who haven't made great choices and has had to spend some time in ISS. Often these kids are very difficult, and she's always maintaining some comedy. She never gets upset or ruffled or rattled or any other great word that says she is calm and collected.
She talks calmly, respectfully to everyone and in every situation. BEMS would not be the same without Mrs. Allen. She has worked here for several years and she gives it her whole heart every single day. She has a very hard job. She also has a very big heart. She's always going out of her way to make sure the students in her room know that she cares for them, even though they're not excited about being in in-school suspension. She takes her job very seriously, and if she's supposed to have a student that doesn't make it to her class, she will track them down. I've seen this firsthand. It is the best. Even if it means watching restrooms and hallways, and sometimes multiple times a day, or during class changes, Dowling goes above and beyond what is asked of her. Probably long overdue. Congratulations. Go to the custodial ranks. Again, in ESP, we have a variety of topics, a variety of people who do so many things. Rarely do you see them. Sometimes you see them more, but many you don't see what they do. And you're just like, how come that happened? Because someone did it. And we have wonderful employees do that all the time. Paul Coulter from Harris Intermediate. Come on up, Paul. Oh, I've got things to say about you. These are just colleagues that take the time. By the way, you get applications that are sent. You don't have to fill it in. We get busy, but these are people like, no. I'm gonna send it out. Always happy and will do whatever is needed for our school. He's always going to give the extra mile. Over winter break, so here's a person you might identify who this is. Over winter break, I had one table that the leg came off. I asked him to fix the table so that we could still use it. He not only fixed the broken table leg, he also checked all the other tables and tightened the other loosened table legs. That's awesome. He goes out of his way to acknowledge everyone he encounters with a cheerfully greeting, often using sir, no matter how young they are, because of his military service for decades. He is pleasant, kind, and humble, yet ensures that everything is supplied, taken care of, cleaned, and all in the spirit of serving. He does what is asked of him with a big smile on his face. Paul is considerate, friendly, dependable. Some days he even sees me walking in with my arms full and runs over to unlock the door. So very aware of others. Congratulations, Paul Quilter. You can't hear me?
No, on the video.
Serious?
Serious.
We can hear.
I've never heard anybody say Keith Meeker was quiet. But I can be big. Is this better? It's on?
It's on, and I've got it.
Max?
I've got the game.
I apologize. Jeez. He wants to be mic'd up. All right. Next one is in IT and facilities. By the mic. I thought my voice would carry. I apologize to those virtually joining us. Thank you. J. David Cook. Come on up, David. Congratulations. I guarantee you, many of you don't know him. David is in our IT in the district office, and he works in a dark room with 27 screens, and he's monitoring what's going on with our students and technology. Sorry. I hope no one heard that.
My fault.
Just kidding. But anyway, another behind-the-scene kind of guy. David's always helpful and keeps us on maintaining our management systems for IT. JAMP, CCCM. Okay, that may have been an accidental S. ASM. Make it up. Just say yeah. But Dave takes care of it, and he's very timely. We're grateful for his abilities and knowledge. We go into child nutrition. Kathleen Hess. Brown Bearman Middle School. Over here. I know, we kind of have a routine. I gotta talk to the mic, you gotta get a picture. Nice, kind words here. Kathleen is always willing to accommodate the Bearman Middle School schedule changes, operates the kitchen with exactness and finesse. I love that. And acts as an essential contributor. For those of you that from another, maybe, I don't know. That's where I'm from. To our weekly team meetings, Kathleen adheres to policies and has a friendly, welcoming demeanor. She runs an excellent kitchen and staff. She goes beyond more than just providing meals. She has activities and contests for the kids, works with the faculty and team members, and has the cleanest kitchen in the district. And that's been done with a little white glove test. She's happy, loves her job. She's helpful and always searching for ways to serve. She is the best. Congratulations. Lacey Smith, ACYI. Come on. Lacey's always finding the best way to make things run smoothly. Exceptional people skills. Takes great pride in every meal served. Adds her personal touch to many menu items. Like what?
Salt and pepper.
Ooh. Salt and pepper. No, my wife, she's not on here, kind of a bland cooker. Do not tell my wife. But I do have to put salt and pepper on every meal because she doesn't do that kind of
She's
stuff.
looking out for your blood pressure.
Now that is probably, sorry, I digress. Got a little off task. I can do that to myself. Oh yeah, here we go. Handles emergency situations calmly, encourages a good work ethic in the employees that she supervises, and drives a Corvette to work. I don't know if that's true, but that's pretty cool. She takes every change thrown at her in stride and is always ready to do what is best for the school. She greets the students in line with a smile and almost always by name. And just so you know, there's just short of 1,100. That's a big deal. Congratulations, Lacey Smith. You are amazing. Did you get that comment? The re-recording after or before? Oh, God. Keep your mouth shut. R. Mark Nelson. We're talking transportation. Woo-hoo. I apologize. Here you go. So, yeah. I'll tell you what, I have seen Mark more on the road, just waving. He's just attentive. And I'm glad he does what he does as a bus driver. Mark not only cares about the kids on the bus and making sure they get to school safely, Mark also is considerate of the community he drives in. I regularly see Mark pulling in his bus to the side of the road so a line of cars can get past him during his morning routes. As a parent and community member, I really appreciate that Mark wants to take care of the kids and also make sure he is showing kindness to the community around him. I've never heard a compliment like that. That is awesome by this person, and way to go, Mark. Another person in transportation, it is a bus para, Shayla McClure. Did I say that right? Bus driver. A bus driver. That's my bad. How are you? Congratulations.
Oh, I get 2 pictures.
Keep your eyes in the middle, I guess. I would like to nominate Shayla. Every department needs a Shayla. She shows up to work each day with a smile. She is always so positive. On the radio, she always tells people to have a great day. I know at times she has had difficult situations arise on her bus, but has handled them with grace. We are lucky to have her in our fleet. She will go out of her way to make people new and old, employees to feel welcome, but will also take a stand when needed, even if it means to stand alone. She drives special needs and behavioral students each day and has great communication with her students and parents. She also communicates with the teachers as needed. When you see her students on the bus, they smile and they know that they're in good hands with Shayla. Box Elder School District is very lucky to have Shayla McClure as an employee for the past 7 years. And this person is anonymous. They didn't want to know, but they sure wanted to say how awesome you were. So congratulations to Shayla McClure. All right. Oops. Sorry. Yes. I'm Terry Ann Hanks. Are you here?
Yes.
We're now in the secretary, administrative assistant category. Terry Ann is a secretary at North Park Elementary. There's a couple things. I love this first thing. Terry Ann has been a secretary here at North Park for many years. She keeps our school running. We've had 3 principals in 3 years. And we've never skipped a beat. She is such an amazing secretary. She keeps us going on a daily basis. She is a fantastic and deserves this recognition. She has helped find a sub when I'm really sick. She checks in on me when I have a difficult day. She even sent flowers when I was going through a really hard time. She's always happy and positive. Terry Ann's exceptional qualities as secretary of North Park make her an invaluable asset to the school community. Her dedication and commitment to her role goes above and beyond expectations, creating a warm and efficient environment for both staff and students. Terry Ann is always ready to lend a helping hand, providing support with a genuine smile. Her proactive approach and attention to detail make her an indispensable team player, contributing significantly to the positive atmosphere at North Park Elementary. In essence, Terry Ann's outstanding qualities make her a cornerstone of the school's administrative success, fostering a collaborative and welcoming environment for everyone. That is awesome. Congratulations. This next person is Megan Heiner. I worked very closely with Megan for 5 years, every day, all year long. And I always wanted to nominate her. Problem is, she sent out the votes, and she helps count the votes. And I was counting the votes, and I could never nominate her. As soon as I left the position, I'm like, no one really thinks of her sometimes as an ESP secretary, but I do. And I thought, if I ever get a chance, and this year I did it, and the committee selected her. So I'll try to do the best I can. These are my words, and I'll try to not cry. But having worked closely with Megan over the past 6 years, I don't think I've ever worked with anyone before that worked so hard, that was so good at their job. Megan's institutional knowledge and perspective is unmatched. I've watched her work with nervous employees who are just beginning their employment in the district, as well as tentative employees that are retiring from our district after a long, successful career. In each case, and everywhere in between, Megan is kind, compassionate, professional. She handles the ebbs and flows of the job with ease and is always finding a way to improve the experience of employees. She rarely gets recognized for ESP awards because in many ways her efforts are tied with the executive director of HR. However, without Megan's abilities and commitment to help employees during the onboarding process, licensing process, payroll, and myriad of other ways, our district could not be as great a place to work as it is. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Cody. Thanks, Hayes. Hayes draws pictures for me. I loved them. They were awesome. He's grown up. I have. I still miss your pictures. Congratulations, Megan. You know, we have over 1,000 ESPs. 1,000 in our district, from custodial to child nutrition to secretarial to IT to transportation to computers to you name it. 1,000. And they do awesome. And they're underpaid. And sometimes underappreciated. But what they do to make kids learn and just we take for granted, They're amazing. We love them. And congratulations to all that were nominated. And I'm sorry to talk in the mic, but we love our ESPs.
All that received ESP recognitions tonight, we'd like to shake your hands. So if you'd come up and just start over here, the board would like to shake your hands. And also new administrators, if you would come up, we would like to shake your hands as well. Okay? Thank you. You guys are awesome, all of you. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Hey, Megan, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, David, congratulations.
Behind the scenes, I'll take it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
So wonderful.
Congratulations.
So
Great job.
excited when I saw your name. Congratulations. Thank you.
Hey, excited to have you on board here.
John.
Congratulations. Hey, Daylene, one of my favorite people. Oh, Mari just So, congratulations. Congratulations, guys. Appreciate ya.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all you're doing. Oh,
Excited having you at Golden Spike. That's great.
congratulations. That was wonderful. You'll do great. I was like,
Congratulations. Great to have you on board. You're welcome.
welcome.
Congratulations. Great job.
Yeah, it's going to be way good. Way good. Spanish speaking. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think she had 4 sheets out there. We thought we were going to fill up 4 sheets.
Okay, we have 2. Everyone, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you do not have to, so it's your call.
I'm not sure.
Just said your power's being restored. No, I already know it's been restored because it was restored for it. So anyway,
Thanks, Robert.
thank you, Robert.
What happened to the Wi-Fi for a while? It wasn't me, it was...
high blood pressure, and he finally read the Slack that's been going on all day. So we rebooted the controller.
Right now.
Is there any more?
What do you think, Mike?
I have 2 and 1, 3. Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Somebody says something about handles with patients, and I'm like, that's not me right now.
You've had a bad week for that, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay, we will continue now with our public comment. Before we begin public comment, there's just we like to go over policy 1110, that is public participation in board meetings. And these are the guidelines that we need to follow for public comment. First of all, patrons that come up, they need to state their first and last name before they make their comments. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. If you're here representing a group, then it can be 6 minutes. Also, handouts can be distributed to the board if you have handouts. And also, the board will not take final action or have discussion on items presented during public comments unless the item is already on the meeting agenda this evening. So we are here just to listen to your comments. Comments on personnel issues will not be allowed during public comments, so just be aware of that, okay? Where will we begin? We have 3 tonight. We'll start with Laura Wheatley, and then we have Laura Calder and Chandra Porter. Correct? Okay.
Hi, Laura Wheatley, from the PTA. Thank you. Well, I mean, nobody's here anymore, but thank you for all of you guys who did your great work. We appreciate you, parents and teachers too. The only thing I had to say today was Garland won some awards at the State Utah PTA for membership. So good job, Garland. And thank you to board members. I know some of you are on Garland's Garland's membership as well. So thank you. And we are going to have our leadership convention next month. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Laura. Okay. 2 Lauras.
Yes,
Two
2
in a row.
Lauras. You've got Lauras today. Well, my name is Laura Calder. Thank you so much for letting me have an opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm a parent. I have kids in the middle, intermediate, and elementary. I also serve as the president of my community council at Fielding Elementary. So I come kind of on behalf of what we talked about in our community council, and my principal asked I would kind of come talk, Mrs. Christy Kapner, and she should get one of your guys' cute awards you give. She's a great principal, so just keep that in mind. We absolutely love her. So I'm coming actually to talk about the school schedule and some of those things that we've been asked about, and come with definitely a spirit of cooperation. It sounds like there's discussions happening, and we just want to kind of add our voice to see if we can help make the best choices with some of the changes that you're discussing, because I know we were kind of giving options that we should report to you, but kind of had some more insight that we wanted to share. So that's why I come today, because if we're going to be making another time schedule change for parents, that is difficult. I know you guys probably don't want to do that, and it's hard, and we just want to make sure we kind of get it right so we don't have to continue to make these changes. So some of the things that we want to consider that we want to share is something that we get not only from our council, but definitely as we've talked with members at our school, is that we recommend keeping things on the same day. That I know there was a Friday early out and a late start Wednesday. I don't know how to say this nice, I'm not a very good speaker, but can you just mess up one of our days, like our schedules as a mom, please? Because me with a kid in all those schools, I'm going to have 3 different schedules to operate through the week. It's not only confusing when you get up. I can't tell you how many times for late start I show up to the school and the kids didn't have to be there for another hour. It just really, if we could keep it on the same day, I know that is one of the parents' greatest concerns. Please keep everything on the same day. And the late start for the kids, I know, has also not been popular as parents have been talking, because we say for teenagers, like, yeah, they need more sleep. I get it. I have teens. But they're not going to sleep in because I have little kids that are up. It's kind of going to defeat the point. I know mine won't sleep in because our whole family will be going. And I would say there's just as much research to show that consistency is just as important as sleep for a teenager, having consistent routine for them. One thing we were concerned about with Friday, with the kids getting out early, once again, as young kids being home alone, let's just make sure that if we're changing something, we have to evaluate, there's going to be problems with each one. What are the problems that we're trying to solve with this change, and make sure that we, like those problems, which problems do we want, right? And kind of evaluate the difference there. One thing I did want to bring up just to consider as another idea is a 4-day work schedule. That's what we're coming to talk about a little bit with school schedule. As you know, things kind of went out on Facebook. I'm sure you guys see that. And it was really intriguing to see how many people said they want the 4-day week. And so I kind of just wanted to talk about that a little bit, because we talked about it in our council. Because if people are missing Friday, maybe they're trying to tell us something. They don't want to go to school on Friday. But once again, that could open up other problems, right? Anything. So we kind of wanted to talk about what problems that would do and some solutions. First of all, there's kids with no food. Right now we're already I know at Fielding we make bags for the weekend. You'd have to probably make more food. But also kids being home alone on Friday if we have working parents. But some things that maybe we should consider, I don't know if we thought about, you'll have older kids home sometimes in some homes to watch those kids, right? But also, with me seeing how many parents commented that they wanted the 4-day week, COVID might have changed some things that we haven't thought about. So many more people can work from home virtually now, and maybe we need to make sure that we're not having old ideas in our mind. Like, are we letting the minority dictate what the majority needs? Because having a Friday off, there are positives. I mean, people are taking their kids out to spend time with their families, which we know will build stronger families, better students, better society. But and then again, we do need to look at, that minority. So I guess our thought is, let's make sure that we do the hard work here. We have technology now to survey everyone. Are we really listening to the majority versus the minority? Let's get more input before we make a decision, because once again, we have the technology to mass ask that. What do the people want? What are they going to support? And that's what I come to you with. Let's look at those, maybe some different solutions, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Thank you. Okay, Chandra.
Hi, my name is Chandra Porter, and I'm not so much with the bullet points. I wrote out word for word what I need to say. I also come to you today to discuss some other options as far as the schedule change goes. As I was reflecting on the reasons why the district-wide schedule change was up for discussion, it really struck a chord with me. High school kids not returning from lunch for their last class on Friday is more of a localized problem to the school, not necessarily a district one. High school is time for the kids to learn how to grow up and to be responsible, functional adults that contribute to society. By changing their school hours to make it easier to be responsible is not ultimately going to help them with their futures. It would be to shield them from the natural consequences. The real world will not cater to them choosing to be irresponsible. My husband and I own a construction company. When we have entitled employees that choose to continuously show up late or not at all, they get fired. We do not change our company hours to revolve around their lack of responsibility. We should help these kids understand that before they are shoved out into the world where it is a much harsher environment. I do not come empty-handed. Some solutions that have come to mind are just to let nature take its course. Kids who do not attend class might fail, have to repeat the class, take summer school, or repeat a grade. While this sounds harsh, it will teach them that there are consequences to their own actions, natural consequences that happen based on the choice that they make. Also, high schools can have a closed campus on Fridays. Students can leave for lunch Monday through Thursday, but not on Fridays. This being a consequence to their behavior, to them missing class, would be to take away that extra day of leaving campus for lunch. I care about the kids in our district, and I truly want them to succeed in life beyond the halls at school. I honestly feel there are great and better options beyond going back to late start Wednesday as an entire district. We can figure this out together. Thank you for your time.
Thanks to all three of you for coming. We appreciate your input. Okay, we will now go to our action items, approval of college and career readiness counseling program, and that is Allison Williams, our CTE director.
Hello, board. It's so good to be here tonight and to be able to ask for approval for our college and career counselors in our high schools, middle schools, and intermediate schools. And so that's what I'm here for, is to gain approval for that. This is an annual event, and we're glad to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the counseling department each time. As part of the review process, the state office requires that the local school board authorize this program. And just so that you know, each one of our schools has completed an annual self-evaluation, and they are working on an interim review this year and have been found to be compliant in all requirements set forth by USBE. Over the years, the counseling programs of Box Elder School District have consistently received exemplary evaluations. And Box Elder School District school counselors are devoted to their craft and the students that they serve. Now, I'm going to digress for just a minute and tell you a little bit about the things that I've observed, especially recently. And one of those is that they have worked so hard with our students to give them hope. And let me explain. If you are a student that doesn't know what's going to happen to you once you step outside of the school realm, it's pretty scary. But when you have a plan and you have a purpose, there's hope for what you're going to be doing. And our counselors do such a good job by helping them decide on pathways and careers and what they're going to do after they leave school. Let me just give you a couple of statistics. In the state of Utah, 99% of all of the CTE completers and 97% of the CTE concentrators, they graduate from high school, compared to those who are not CTE completers or concentrators, only 88% complete. And still, that's a pretty high number, but that's a difference of 11%, which is very high. In Box Elder District, 98% of CTE completers and 95% of CTE concentrators graduate, compared to 86% in Box Elder School District of those who graduate from high school. So you can see that it's over 9% higher. And that's exactly what our counselors do. They start out with their PCCRs in the 7th grade, and they say, okay, choose one of these because you can change it at any time. And at least they're thinking about what they want to do in the future, and they're making those setting goals and moving around and seeing if that's something they really enjoy. So what does it have to do with counselors? Like I said, they discuss careers and pathways to help them explore careers. They take students on tons of field trips to Utah State, to BTech, and expose them to options that are available to them. They track graduation requirements and scholarship applications. Many of you know that the Foundation Board has a lot of scholarships that we're just working on right now. And I can't tell you how many counselors call in individual students and say, this one's for you. Here, let's fill it out together. And it's awesome. They offer first responder evaluations to get students help that they need. And mostly, again, they give hope. So I recommend that we approve the College and Career Readiness Counseling Program of the Box Elder School District for the 2023-24 school year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Allison. Does anyone have any questions for Allison?
Allison,
Yes.
thank you for making it individual.
Oh, you bet.
Had a conversation in the last 24 hours, and I want to say that at this particular school district, we are preparing these children, and they get to choose what they do. It's all about individuals, and I can guarantee that to anyone, that in this school district, we do that. And thank you for your counselors for meeting with those parents and meeting with those students and preparing for success. And it takes time to do that. And we start, like you said, in 7th grade. I'm so grateful for that because all of our children are just a little bit different, and some are a lot different. And there's a way for them to be successful. And in the school district, we make that happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the College and Career Readiness Counseling Program.
Okay, Karen Cronin has made the motion. Do we have a second? Okay, Nancy Kennedy has made the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it passes. Good. Yes. Anyway, very well done. Thank you. Okay, that was our only action item tonight, so we're going to go on to our information items. First of all, Rachel Lott, our nursing supervisor, Rachel's here, and she's going to present our mental health and substance use presentation. I did, and it was good. It's worth hearing again.
Okay, so I've been asked to do a 1-hour presentation in 15 minutes, so the slides are going to go by pretty fast. Yes, in January. So if you've heard it, I'm sorry you'll hear it again, but I guess I could get started. The first slide talks about how 6 years ago we had 5 accidental deaths and 5 suicides. And Bonnie Young and Gary started brainstorming, how can we prevent this? How can we change this? How can we help our kids be a little healthier mentally? And it's the one without the one. Yes. It's okay. Anyway, so they started working together. This program is really theirs. I'm just the lucky one to step in. Okay. All right, great. No, you're fine. I didn't get it to you ahead of time. I didn't know. I've never done this before. So, how do we, yeah, go ahead. So we talked about that. They felt like they needed to do more, so go ahead. Research was found that a lot of kids were not attached to their schools. They were disengaged. Keep going. So they talked about how to foster resilient learners, learning about being trauma-informed, building relationships, adopting strength-based approach, so positive reinforcement, and try and encourage self-care to avoid burnout. Go ahead. Okay, every day, whatever it takes. Go ahead. This was scary part of it. Oh, awesome. All right, so Bonnie always described this process as peeling the onion. And each time they took off a layer, they'd find another one. So COVID helped them recognize where there were weak spots. There were weak spots before COVID, but COVID just made them more blatantly obvious. So they started talking about how to fill the gaps. And we use SHARP and Panorama data, which we need for our grants, which we'll talk about in a minute. They started working with counselors, building community relationships, getting involved with coalitions, things like this. The Box Elder Safe Communities Coalition has been very helpful in helping us get funding for a lot of the things that we're doing, and the whole community is really working together. And when we went to that school board meeting, yeah, there were a lot of people there saying, how do you get your people to come together? And so I think we have something special here. Also, Dr. Schramm, Dr. Dave, had a big part of guiding Bonnie and Gary through this process. He's a family life extension specialist at USU, and he was just at our PD day. But he worked a lot with Bonnie, just brainstorming and coming up with ideas, and his using strength-based, strength-based encouraging things for the kids.
Characteristics.
Yeah, all those things. They'll come up in a minute. But in order to do all of this, Bonnie and Gary found grant funding. And unfortunately, a lot of those are going away. But we still have the e-cig, marijuana and other drug prevention grant, the Stronger Connections grant, and the foundation grants that are available to us. The substance abuse prevention one has gone to Megan Bushnell, and they're using it for other things. So we had great support. They had great support. Preventions and interventions. We have two amazing prevention intervention specialists, Bobby Jo Jepson and Jessica Brager, works on the North End now. And they, Jessica teaches Catch My Breath, which is a vaping prevention program that's evidence-based that we got through Primary Children's Hospital. They worked with us at the beginning, and now we do it on our own. And then Botman life skills that are supposed to be happening already. So Catch My Breath, we started out with some other people, but now we have Jessica doing that in 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, and we're hoping to continue that next year. We're in discussion with Keith. These are some of the examples of things that Bobby Jo and Jessica use with kids who get safe school violations for vaping or other things. They do the VAA character strengths, so they get their top 5, and we print them up a little laminated card and start talking about the things they're good at. We've just this year started Check and Connect. It's kind of a pilot program right now. It's kind of small, but we're trying to increase that. That provides a mentor at the school to kind of watch over these kids after Bobby's done with them, or Jessica's done with the 6 weeks that they do with intervention. We found that they were kind of taking a nosedive on attendance and grades after she was done. They did great while she had them. They improved, and then they would go down again. So Check and Connect, we're hoping to bring in as the next intervention to kind of help buoy up these kids that don't have a lot of support at home. This is what the VIA character strengths looks like. She uses this also. This is from the United Way, basically Maslow's pyramid of needs. And she talks with the kids, Bobby, Joe, and Jessica, actually. They talk with the kids that get safe school violations. They start at the bottom, and they do 6 weeks. So the first one's kind of an introductory, and then they do each of the levels each time they see the students. And this tells more about Check and Connect, but we don't really have time for that. We use the SHARP data and the Panorama data to drive the funding to keep these things going. I don't know if do you want to see these charts? Our vaping, we're excited, has decreased. We don't have full, complete participation in SHARP last year, but that's exciting anyway, because it's percentage-based, not number of students. So,
Rachel, I know I've got you on a time limit, but just today I read the letter about the pouches. You want to explain those just maybe really quick?
Oh, Zyn pouches are the new thing. They are nicotine pouches that have flavoring and some different, and they just chuck it inside their lip, kind of like chew, except it's in a little packet, so it's not messy. And it tastes good because they put flavoring in it, and it comes in containers that look like mint packages. So we're at both high schools, they're finding this. So we've written a letter, and we're going to send it out to parents just to make them aware that this is kind of the new nicotine thing that kids are doing. They're hearing on podcasts and things from adults that nicotine helps them focus and helps them, concentrate because it is a stimulant. But kids' brains aren't the same as adults' brains, and nicotine is harmful no matter how you spell it. So. I don't know the answer to that. A lot of times with their vaping and other things that they're doing, they get it from older people that will purchase it for them. They get it from home. We've had first grader try vaping marijuana from a family member.
Are they sold just like vapes and cigarettes?
No, they have to be 21 to buy them.
Okay.
Legally.
But you can buy
They're
them.
illegal for younger kids. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on this one? Okay. We still see an increase in mental health needs for the most part, which we're trying to address. A lot of purposeful self-harm happening. 5%, 6% is too many to be attempting suicide. So trying to curb that. These are the protective factors that we are pretty good at. So lots of pro-social involvement. And then the risk factors, we continue to have that low commitment to school, depressive symptoms, and then antisocial behaviors. Panorama data hasn't changed that much. It's gone up a little bit, but grit and self-efficacy seem to be our weakest areas with our kids. So that try and try again. Okay, so we also have positive social norm campaigns that we do with a company called Duo. They post on Facebook and Instagram, and we have flags up at middle schools and intermediate schools that say, like 97% of kids in Box Elder School District don't drink alcohol or things like that. Because we're trying to focus on positive social norms. We did a campaign last year for the Box Elder Bear River game. We did instead of vaping, I do other things. And the kids really got involved with that. It was pretty fun to see. So this is an example of one of the posts. They're all just positive messaging. So our mental health team now consists of 4 LCSWs, 3 interns that are paid by the New Hope Crisis Center, and then we have our K through 12 counseling specialist and assistant counseling specialist, the school counselors at elementary and secondary levels, 2 prevention intervention specialists, 5 school nurses, and me. Okay, so before they asked how did this happen, and I don't really know. I think Bonnie really made this happen. But I was a school nurse for 11 years before deciding. Well, at about the 8-year mark, I started back to school. I got my bachelor's, and then I was going to wait because I still had a child in high school, but it was. I had an impression I needed to do it right then, so I applied and got in to the last master's program at Weaver State. So I got to do it in 2 years instead of 3. And then I went and worked at Valley Behavioral Health because I knew I wanted to come back to our area and do mental health because we don't have much. And so I went and worked for Valley. They're the main Medicaid provider in Salt Lake County. And they also have a private side. But I had some really amazing experiences. For a year of that, I worked with the ACT team, the Assertive Community Treatment Team, where we had about 75 clients. It was a 10-person team, 75 clients. They were all schizophrenic or schizoaffective, meaning they had schizophrenia and bipolar. And most of them were drug addicts. So it was really fascinating. I learned a lot. I have to thank Dr. Thatcher for that. He is the chief medical officer there, and he taught everybody he hires. He spends 80 hours teaching us the ropes of mental health. So spent 80 hours at a master's feet. Anyway, now I can provide services for free within the school district. Staff, I've worked with some staff and children. Basically, we're still getting the word out, but I now have parents of kids that I've worked with telling their friends, so now they're calling. So it's been busy, but it's getting busier. I had to get an electronic health record. Through this electronic health record, I can prescribe electronically. So it goes straight to the pharmacy, so I can do controlled substances if we need that for ADHD, or whatever is necessary can go through this electronic health record. And I do all of my documenting here so that it's not open and available to everybody on the spire or something like that. We had to come up with something different. Here's the consent form we created. I have to have one of these to work with the kids, of course. Right now, what happened? Okay. All right, right now, I have 23 actively receiving treatment that are on medication, 22 more still in the assessment stage, 17 that I did consultation on, but no treatment or referral was necessary. A lot of parents with questions, which is great. I love to educate. We've got 16 referred back to their community providers. I'm working on that 23 at the top to try and get most of them back before summer. Anyway, 87 total referrals so far this year. And I maintain the students that don't have insurance because they can't, it's a barrier to care. They can't pay to go to the doctor without insurance. So I have some who even had Medicaid, but the Medicaid lapsed and they went to the doctor and they have this bill for $100 they can't pay. So, you know, I kind of try and fill in the gaps. And that's it. Did I make it?
Yes. For those of you who attended the USBA convention, we got to expand on this a little bit, but for the rest of us and everybody listening, I just think it's important that Box Elder School District and Box Elder community understands the fortunate situation we're in to have Rachel. Being a nurse practitioner, she's the head of our health services. She's got 2 hats. She's kind of helping to lead and guide our nurses who do a great job, I think. They just need to be organized a little bit because I do such a great job, but to have a nurse practitioner that can do what she does to help bridge the gap between those kids that probably would go without some mental health training, let alone some possible medication. We're just so fortunate to have Rachel. And as Rachel said, she really had that impression a number of years ago. She was here with when I first started for 2 or 3 years, and she went back to school full time. And we were just fortunate. And Bonnie, I've got to give Bonnie credit because she's the one that came to Keith and I and said, hey, we need to try to get Rachel to become the director of our health services so we can, I hate to say this, but pay her enough to make it worth having a nurse practitioner. And so Box Elder School District is incredibly fortunate to have Rachel, not just with her degree, but with her expertise and her caring. And that's a huge part of it.
I'm very thankful to be here because I love having 12 weeks off.
That's awesome.
That was not like that at Valley. Anyway, I just wanted to say one more thing. Last year I kind of started more with the high schoolers and the middle schoolers and working with vaping and stuff. And I didn't, things went fine, but it wasn't great. This year the elementary principals and administrators caught on to what I could help them with. So I've worked more with kindergarten, first and second grade. And I love the idea of giving them a good start. The ones who can't be in class, who aren't functioning, who are climbing filing cabinet drawers and throwing ceiling tiles, those kind of kids are the ones that I can help with. And I'm really thankful for that. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Rachel. Have any questions for Rachel? Okay, Rachel, and I wanted you to know, I talked to so many board members from throughout the state down at the USBA, and they were so impressed with your presentation, and I think it's inspired them to do better things in their districts as well.
Because it's not happening anywhere else yet.
Well, I think you did lots of good down there, so thank you, Rachel. Okay, now we have Child Nutrition Report. Dave Roberts, our Business Administrator.
Finally figured out why you guys asked me to kind of supervise this department. It's because I eat a lot, so it's very nice of you. However, I will tell you I'm grateful for this opportunity. Is this mic on, Robert? We okay? Even my scratchy voice. But I will tell you, I think it's cruel and unusual punishment that you make me come and talk about food at 7:30 at night when I haven't eaten. Okay. But first of all, I would like to introduce Angie and Valerie in the back that are two of our supervisors. Our third one, Colleen, is not here tonight. But anyway, this is attached to your board packet, but I think there will be a piece in here that's not attached to your board packet that you enjoy. So first of all, I want to make you guys know that at any time that you guys want to come to a school and participate in school lunch, you are welcome, and it will cost you nothing. Okay? So I would encourage you guys, if you guys are hungry and you're out and about, stop in at a school and see what good things our child nutrition employees do. Okay? And this is one of the opportunities we had to serve our local public safety officers came and visited, but I would encourage you guys to do the same whenever you have an opportunity. So at the start of each school year, we have a professional development for all our employees that are in child nutrition. Now, this doesn't happen very often that we get a famous visitor to come and present at our conference, right? But Adam Stantler showed up with his guitar, and he has a very famous song from Saturday Night Live that he decided to share with us. So hopefully this will play. And I don't know if you recognize the person with the red hairdo, but that's Mark. And he's probably falling off the bed that he's laying on, knowing that I showed that picture of him in a dress. Oh, sound's not working. Can we fix that, Robert? Because this is no good without the sound.
I don't think this had approval to be shown.
Hey,
did we check with Adam Sandler?
These guys are my boss. Is it working? Okay. There's another 8 minutes of that. I mean, but after a while, watching him with his fake comb over, with the hair on, and Mark dancing like that, you kind of lose your appetite. So anyway, it was fun. I appreciate the superintendent, Mark Taylor, taking time out of their day to come and entertain and encourage our employees. It was a good time. Did I just skip something? All right. So one of the items that we did this year was farm to table. We bought 600 ears of corn from Colleen Schaefer out in the Garland area. And superintendent and I had the opportunity to go to a couple schools and participate. And it was amazing, the diversity of kids that like worms and don't like worms in ears of corn. There was one girl that was walking around collecting them. She had like 8 on her corn, and she was going around asking them from other students. It was interesting. Anyway, I thought it was a very good educational piece. There was many kids that had never husked a deer corn. I don't think they realized you could actually have worms in them either. So anyway, that was fun. We also did a local beef day, and we provided hamburgers for all the kids. And so we were able to participate in that. So we received 4,600 pounds of beef patties. And if you guys want to know what that is in value-wise, it's equivalent to $80,000 worth of quarters. That's how much pounds of beef they ate. It was $80,000 worth of quarters. But all came from state grants, so we didn't have to pay for that beef. In the corn husking farm to table, we ordered 600 ears of corn, and those were the schools that participated. And we allowed them to do that voluntarily. We didn't force them or ask them to. We just said, hey, if you'd like to participate, let us know. And those were the schools that did participate. Also, too, we celebrated National Breakfast Week on March 4th through 8th. And the theme, as you can tell, was Dr. Seuss. And here's just some pictures. And if you guys will remember right, Kathleen Hess was one of our employees tonight that was recognized. And one of the things that she was recognized for was engaging students in activities. And that was her in that back corner with the hula hoop on with these other 2 students here. Okay? So we served breakfast for lunch every day that week. And so that was a good introduction I feel, for our students for lunch, for breakfast items for lunch. And then in March, on the 15th, we had our professional development day for all the employees in Box Elder School District. We served 798 people, 160 pounds of chicken and beef, 36 number 10 cans were used to create all that, 18 pans of cinnamon twists. And when I say pans, you and I have pans this size, right, at home, cookie sheets. Their pans are this big. They're double the size. Anyway, 80 pounds of chips, 400 taco shells, and then between IT and Hunter Morgan and his staff at the high school, and Keith and Heidi Jo and her staff, we set up 426 additional chairs and 70 6-foot tables in order to have somewhere where everybody could eat. We also this year had our administrative review, which happens every 5 years. They reviewed 3 schools, Bear River High School, Box Elder Middle, and Garland Elementary. And what they're looking at is they're looking for compliance in given areas of financial. And they also audit the meals as they come through the line to make sure that they're reimbursable meals as they're being served. These were the commendations we received, that everything was running smoothly and efficiently. They loved the second chance breakfast at Bear River High School. They said that they felt like that was one of the premier programs for second chance breakfast in the state, and loved how the kitchen workers knew the students by name. We've tried to put some emphasis on salad bars. They did love our salad bars. And then also to just recognize the employees and how competent, friendly, and cheerful they were to work with. Now, in any review, you're also going to get some recommendations. Some of these were very simple to fix, but Colleen, we couldn't have the same person be our confirming officer as our hearing officer for those people that are applying for free and reduced. And so we had to change who's in that process. Our fund balance actually is more than we're supposed to have. And so they actually asked us to create a spending plan to spend down our fund balance. Just kind of give you some ideas of what we're doing. We're going to create access points so they can get hooked up to the internet because our new software is going to allow them to work remotely without actually being tied to a computer. They can use an iPad or a Chromebook or something through the Wi-Fi. Freezer alarms. We've lost a lot of food because we don't have alarms in our freezers, and we're going to spend the money to put in freezer alarms, keyless access into the kitchens without having to go through the whole school, and then replacing old equipment. And I think we talked about this on Monday, that, after a certain amount of time, equipment, even though the school is still very functional, the equipment in the school starts to fall apart. And so the dishwashers, the combis, all those kind of things we're going to do an inventory and replace those. We just had to make sure that we were adjudicating our costs with adult meals, make sure that we were charging enough to cover the costs, that we were supplementing that with Child Nutrition Buddy. And then our non-program food revenue, which is like the cinnamon twists that we received on PD Day, all those kind of things, that we're not commingling any of those rates and prices and funds. And on the indirect costs, we used last year's indirect costs to apply the rate, and so we got the correct rate, applied it, and they received a refund, and that was all done before this review, but they did have to acknowledge that since we didn't take the correct amount out. And then we are supposed to operate a local wellness committee which talks about school lunch, and it's supposed to have administrators, parents, and students on it. That has not been done. And so we're going to engage that committee twice a year, and we're going to start that and get that going. Okay? So just give you some rough numbers here as far as annual meals. And remember, the 2 big years were our COVID years. Remember, all those meals were free. And we also served a lot of meals during the summer. And so those numbers are a little skewed in the sense that those aren't our pattern or our history of what we normally serve. But get you a rough idea of what we're doing. And then February to February, I just want to give you a month on every year what our months are looking like. So you can tell from there that our lunches are staying pretty consistent. However, our breakfasts are going down. And the reason they're going down is because we're not offering them free anymore. And so now that the students have to pay, that participation has dropped. Okay, just wanted to show you some pictures of what great people we have and how they get involved and try to really create a positive culture in their schools. So one area that we are having a little bit of trouble with is our delinquent accounts. We're seeing our delinquent accounts going up dramatically. Just from last year to this year, we're looking at a 16% increase in our delinquent accounts. We're making calls, we're sending letters. Last year, we sent over $19,000 worth of unpaid lunches to collections. And just so you know, we tried minimum 10 times to get a hold of every person. Sent letters, sent texts, sent everything so that when we made phone calls, everything. So we didn't send that over without trying our best to make sure that these parents had the opportunity to bring these accounts back in the positive. But this is an ongoing problem, and it's not just Box Elder. Throughout the whole state, this is becoming a big, big issue. Yes? So was it last year or the year before?
New donations, but it's not, nothing has ever paid all of the delinquent. We'll get like a $500 donation.
I think the biggest one I remember was Arctic Circle, right?
Yeah, and they. Every student equally.
In that school.
Some of those schools, when you break it down to that, some of them turn out to be like $1.57 for this kid, $1.16 for this kid, what they owe. So it's a lot of labor, but it was very much appreciated.
COVID, it was very common for people to come in at Christmas time too and pay off student accounts within a local school or apply a few $100s to student accounts. And I think it does happen still regularly at the school level too as a gift, but people think lunches are free now, so they kind of stopped doing that after COVID.
I think I remember 2 or 3 schools that did have that happen at Christmas time this year.
So we do have very cognizant and very generous donors in our communities. But again, these are amounts that just keep going up, correct? Correct. These are just community members that are, yeah, these are people that aren't free. Well, I guess they could be reduced, but these are amounts that parents should be putting in their accounts so their students have money to pay for the lunches that they're eating. Oh, sorry. I pushed the button too quick. Maybe I didn't. So just some more pictures. We're trying to create a good culture and environment in our department, and this was one of the activities that we did. And there was a lot of laughing and a lot of trying to get other people not to win, but it was a fun activity. And then we treated everybody with their own custom-made caramel apple. So some of the things that we'll be working on this next year is improving our production records and menu efficiencies. We have talked to our principals, and we are going to change our district employee base child nutrition workers to school base. So they will be hired at a school. So if you apply, you'll be applying at a specific location, and that's where you'll be hired and that's where you work. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of positives and there's some cons to that, but the principals will have more say in who gets hired there. The kitchen managers will be able to keep a consistent staff, that they'll be able to try to create a culture, an environment in that will be positive. And so we felt like the negatives or cons to that weren't sufficient enough to not make that change. And so I think this will be a good change in practice in order to allow the environment and culture in our kitchens to be better. Historically, National Lunch Week has always fallen on fall break. However, since this year we're doing it on a Friday and a Monday, we're actually going to celebrate National Lunch Week this year that we haven't done in the past because the kids aren't in school. And then replacing aging inventory, and then the flexibility and control of accessing our kitchens will also be upgraded. And our number one thing is just creating an environment where people want to come to work. And thank you for Tesla for being patient and allowing me to do those roles, because if you looked at my roles versus her roles, you would definitely know that there's a level of experience lacking there. All right, any questions? Okay, thank you guys.
Explain Second Chance Lunch from Bear River High School.
So what?
Breakfast.
Yeah,
Second Chance
so,
breakfast.
so what that is they serve lunch to any student that wants to come and get it. Yeah, it's in between classes. Just grab it and go to their next class. Yeah. So basically, it's helping those kids that come to school hungry at the start of the day. And so it also is for those football players that ate breakfast at home and decide they're hungry at 9:30. If you're on free and reduced, yes. But if you're not, you'd be paying the breakfast price.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Nice job. Thank you. Okay, Mike Clark. We only get to see you once a year, Mike, so we appreciate you being here. Mike is going to talk about, he's our energy specialist and going to do the energy report.
Before I do that, I wanted to make a comment on Dave's presentation. There's a picture of, and they snuck out already, those dang. Anyway, there's a picture of those two back there, the nutrition people, around a Christmas tree. What Dave didn't tell you is that picture was taken in August. They put that tree up in August. I won't let them turn the lights on until it's proper, but the Christmas tree's up. So there's there's a few downfalls of being an energy guy. I was in Dallas on Monday, and about noon I was out in the park, and the sun was shining nicely, and I could hear air conditioners going around, and I thought, it's too early in the year for air conditioners. I wonder what would happen if we were to turn that sun down just a little bit. And I kept turning it down and then turning it down. Finally, the sun was gone, it cooled right down, it was really nice. So I don't know if you guys got to see any of it up here, but in Texas it was dark. Anyway, sorry. Next slide. I guess I don't have the clicker, so you're my clicker. It's kind of sad. Let's see. These are our program numbers. For the program to date, we have saved about, well, 2,700,000 and change through the end of February. The bills for March are just trickling in, and so they're not in there yet. So we've saved, we've avoided using 11.3%. There's also some other savings involved in there, about 75,000. So the overall program savings, $2.78 million. This slide here shows in years past when you were contracted with Synergistic, they paid to have the Energy Star program come in, and you'd get the little plaque and you'd put the stickers on the windows. In order to do that, a third-party engineering group has to come and evaluate your schools. And then when they sign off that everything's good, then you get the little stickers, and it's a little spendy. We have a group, Johnson Controls, we're working with them. They're supposed to be getting us bid on what it would cost, where we're already tied to them to see what that would cost. But it showed, you go back to that last one. Yeah, that one there. This chart here shows that all of our schools, minus Grouse Creek, yes, I said creek, not creek. It's proper. Anyway, all of them are showing that they would be Energy Star compliant. Anything over 75 gets you an Energy Star. So we are doing really well. These are national comparisons. It's not smoke and mirrors. This is stuff that everybody has to go up against. So I'm happy with that. Okay, next slide. This just shows the trend as we climb the hill there, the 2.7 million. Each month is broke out on what its cost avoidance is. Okay, next. Oh yeah, that really helps. So you can have either a pandemic, or you can have an eclipse and save money. Either way, whatever works. This is a cost avoidance trends. Again, weather plays a lot of in on that, but they stay pretty consistent. Next. This is the cost avoidance by the utilities. Electricity is the one that we save the biggest bang for our buck on. That's the easiest one to control. Your heat is pretty much what it is. Electricity, we can make sure things are shut off when they should be, and a lot easier to chase. But water in the past has been reasonably cheap. It's becoming reasonably more expensive, and so we're concentrating on looking at ways of saving at that as we go along as well. So this is the warm and fuzzy chart. It shows what the environmental impact is. I try to come up with different ways each year to compare that. The greenhouse gas emissions, that's 3,353 vehicles driven per year. If you were to, it's the equivalent emissions that they would cause. Greenhouse gas avoided by if you had 3.7 million, or try that again, 3.7 wind turbines running for a year, that's what they would, what they would help avoid. And the 647 propane cylinders that you'd use in your home barbecues. So. Going forward, going to continue to monitor the monthly bills to ensure accuracy and look for trends and outliers. We average about $8,000 a year in utility bill errors. We're able to find and get reimbursed for or credits for. So that's something that has been helpful. Also, there's rebates and things like that. Yes. Meter reading, the meter rate reads are usually what causes it. Once the meter readings are in there, then the program takes over. But most of the time, the meter reads are a manual mess up, or they'll put an extra decimal or take a decimal away, or sometimes you look at the meter read and you think that is not anywhere close to what it should be, and they look at it and say, "Yep, you're right." So, let's see. Continue to work with Corey and his staff as far as when we make replacements on lighting, HVAC, those kind of things. We're looking to get the best energy use out of it, energy efficiency we can. Also, my job is a lot of PR as far as going into the schools and making sure that we have a face to the program. So, and still, when I go into the store, I'll run into different people and they'll tell me that their lights are off and things like that. So that's a good thing, I guess. But or they'll tell me about lights that are coming on that shouldn't be, and so I appreciate that. So that's part of the going forward. Continuing to do building audits, looking during the unoccupied times. Also keeping track of the time of day schedules and making sure we're good there. But also maintaining the creature comforts. I mean, if we didn't worry about creature comforts, we could save all kinds of money, but that's not what we want to do.
Kind of like when we have to call you to turn on the air conditioning when it's August here in this building.
Yeah. Yeah, we save a little bit of money on that hour before we get it cooled, right? Okay, and I think that's it. So any questions? All right,
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate all you do. Thank you. Hey, artificial intelligence, Robert Gordon, our IT director, and David Blake.
Jason, my friend, I need you to come be producer for a minute.
Interesting to have Robert and David come up here to talk about artificial intelligence.
Man behind the curtain has to explain how to run the show behind the curtain. The wizard, yes. Don't.
Okay, that was a real fast crash course, and hopefully he doesn't cook anything else.
All right, so I'm going to start, and then Dave's going to go, and I want to make sure that I'm in the microphone.
You need a standing ovation, Robert.
I had no idea that was coming. He's added to his presentation. So we're going to talk about artificial intelligence tonight, and I want to just kind of introduce this briefly. Many years ago when I was in the classroom, I was teaching 6th grade math. And I told my students, I said, you've got to learn these math facts because you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time. What do we have in our pocket all the time? Yeah, computer, not even just a calculator, but a full-fledged computer. So, famous last words, right? And so when new technologies come along, I have sure changed my attitude. And now we're at that brink of artificial intelligence. How is that going to affect us in the schools? What's that going to do? So tonight we're going to tell you a little bit about that, where we're at with our students, and where we want to be with students and teachers using artificial intelligence. Dave's going to do most of the talking here, and then we're going to open up for some answers, but it's because this is Dave's specialty as our ed tech specialist. And so with that, I'm going to turn over to Dave. That's when we need the applause.
No, that's when the booze comes. So I was thinking that if you close your eyes, you might recognize my voice from a podcast heard around the world, the Super Scoop podcast. So, but Steve and I run that, and if you haven't listened to it, I would encourage you to. And
He says Steve and I run it. Basically, I talk and he does all the stuff to make it happen, because that takes a lot of stuff to make it happen. So.
Steve's a good talker. So I just wanted to kind of talk about AI in the schools, and I know some of you have gone to some presentations on some tools that are available to districts and to students. But a few of the things that I wanted to talk about were how students could use AI in the classroom. So one of the best tools is a brainstorming activity that you can do with students, and so you allow them opportunities to interact with the chatbot. My daughter, who's in 9th grade, was creating they had a debate in their language arts class. And so she was given a topic that she didn't know anything about. And so her and her team were given an opportunity to work with the chatbot and ask questions to this. And I asked her how it went, and she said, oh, it was great, because I was able to brainstorm with, I didn't prompt her at all, but she said, I was able to brainstorm with this thing and get ideas, and then I would take those ideas and then I would go research them and find articles and different facts that she knew were correct. And so it's a great brainstorming tool that students can have. Another one that you can use it for is you can use it as a tutor, and so you can set up an AI bot to tutor in a specific subject. And I'm going to share with you a tool later, but you can put parameters around it, and so as a teacher you can say, I only want you to guide their questions and then follow up with another question. So if they were, like in math that I taught for a lot of years, if they were to say, what's the answer to this equation? The chatbot would then say, well, what do you think the first step would be? And then it would interact with them that way instead of saying, oh, the answer is. If you went to ChatGPT and just logged in and said, what's the answer to this? It would give you the answer. And so we want to put parameters around it. The other thing that you can do is you can take a large piece of information and you can put it into a chatbot and you can say, summarize this for me. So an example, my daughter, again, with this debate thing, it gave her some information and she didn't understand it. So she copied it and pasted it right back into the chatbot and said, explain this to me because I don't understand what this is. And it, in a language that she could understand, it explained it to her. And so it is very powerful. It's great for our students to be able to use in schools, and we do have some teachers that are already using it. The next one is for teachers. It's personalized learning for teachers. I've gone to it lots of times. I mean, I'll just straight out tell you that these are not my words. I put them into AI and said, what are some things that I could teach our school board about for teachers using AI in the classroom? And it helped me come up with these ideas. And so personalized learning. I can go in there, and I've done this myself. I said, I need some more information about this. One of the pushes that the state's doing is with personalized competency-based learning. And so I went in there and I said, give me some ideas of what a personalized competency-based learning lesson looks like. And it pulled the information, and I could reference it right from what the state information was, and it pulled some of that information. And so it helped me learn. Once again, data-driven insights, you can take a large piece of data, put it in there, and have it analyze it for you. And then also, there's tools that if you're not quite sure what interventions you could do or different ideas that you could do for personalized learning. You can put in there and say, hey, my student's really struggling with this and this concept. What can I do? And it can help you understand what you could do to help that student. Now, obviously, there are some cautions with AI in the classroom. Our guidelines, we don't have a policy on it, although I have read through our acceptable computer use policy, and it does encompass this. It just doesn't say AI. And so all of those things that we already have in place are parameters for that. But teachers have full access to any AI tools they want. We don't have any blocks.
I know we're not supposed to use ChatGPT, right?
And why are we, I'm just for clarification, why
I
would,
just thought on a state level, they didn't want students getting into the ChatGPT
Yep.
because it has too much information.
Correct.
That's out there. And so are we using a separate system, or do we have a way to mask our students' identity?
Yep. Point number 3. Yes, no, you're good. That's a great question. And so, but as teachers, we have opportunities to use those things. It's unfiltered for teachers. And then there is a difference between a generative language bot and a generative image bot. Okay, so one, obviously you can chat back and forth with. One you can create images with, and some of you may have seen images that have been created through AI. Adobe has a great one. All of you have access to it with your Box Elder School District account. If you go into Adobe and log in and you go with their app called Firefly, you just put in any description you want and it'll come up with a picture for you. Are they exactly what's going on in your brain? No, they're not. But it'll try and do it. An interesting example, DJ Savage, who teaches AP Spanish here, he used Firefly as an example because he said, I want you to use Spanish language as best you can to describe what you want the image to be. So they created an image on a piece of paper, and then they had to use Spanish language to get this bot to try and get a picture the way they were describing it. So he wanted them to use descriptive language in Spanish. He said it was one of the coolest tools that he'd used. Now, with that, well, sure you can.
I was just thinking, give you a breather for a minute. That's right. So the biggest reason that we are not using ChatGPT is because ChatGPT and several others, I haven't known one yet, that will sign a data privacy agreement. In other words, when a student is working in that using their BESD account, that data can be used however that company wants, and we cannot allow that for, as a data manager. On the other hand, we are not stopping students from using their own personal accounts to get into other AI, so they could use ChatGPT if they're using their own personal Gmail account. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yep. Because we're not blocking it for teachers and we're not blocking it necessarily for them. We just don't allow them to use their BESD.net account to get in because there's no data privacy agreement. Without that, we're going to block them. Does that make sense? Okay.
And because we can't block what people do with their personal stuff, that's part of the reason why. And so with that, guidelines for how it's used in the classroom are up to the teacher. And I've had teachers that have emailed me and said, hey, this is my policy, does that work? And absolutely it does. And others who have emailed me and said, what should I do with this? And I'll say, well, here's a policy that somebody else gave me. You can, modify this. So, and then the last thing is that teachers need to instruct students how to use an AI bot appropriately if they're going to let them use it. We've talked to teachers about this and just said, it's up to you. You need to teach them how to, just like you teach them how to use appropriate language, how to use pencils appropriately, you need to teach them how to use all of the tools that you allow in your classroom appropriately. No, go ahead.
So Tiffany here on the policy committee.
Uh-huh.
Do we need to be writing a district policy about this, or is it all evolving and morphing? so rapidly that any policy would be outdated immediately?
I think that.
How do we address this as a board?
Yeah, I think that our acceptable use policy right now covers it in a manner that says that you need to be using technology appropriately. I think that if we make it so specific that if we include AI bots, that things might change, and now it becomes an irrelevant policy. Now, that's being said today, what we talk about next month or next year or whatever, that might change. But I would say our policy right now covers an acceptable use with it. Yes. Yeah.
And I fully, I'm being very aware of the mic. I fully agree with that. No, for me, I'm coming here because that's what I tell you all to do. I fully agree with that. I think the umbrella of our acceptable use policy, and we recently reviewed that with AI in mind as we read it, I feel like we're in a good place that as an umbrella that covers us. On the other hand, in a year from now, we may want to review that. 5 years from now, it's hard to say where we're going to get to a point where we say, oh no, this has specifically changed enough that we need to change this. But currently, I think we're in a good place. And I think with our plan moving forward, we're going to be able to keep kids in the right place and utilizing it in the right manner. Because that's really what our goal is here, is to not just make it something that kids gravitate to get out of their work, but they actually use it as a tool to improve their work, to check their work, as a companion.
So David said he's got teachers sending individual policies. So do we have a boilerplate, something that we can present?
It's just like a disclosure. It's in their disclosure in their classes. And we don't have a template of what a disclosure needs to be. And so that's where that is.
I'm wondering, excuse me, I'm going to look tomorrow at Jordan School District's policy because they've been one of the leaders in this process. And so I think that's one of the policies
I'll send you Cash's. Cash sent me theirs also.
Okay, we can sit down and talk about them.
Okay.
See what there is that maybe we haven't thought of.
Yeah. Robert and I just got back from the Utah Coalition of Educational Technology Conference, USET, which we love. And Robert's been a president, and I somehow got elected to the board this year. So don't tell my wife yet because she doesn't know. No.
A lot of things happen in lives. You're finding out.
I know. I can guarantee she's not listening. She's like, "Are you going to be home in time to put the kids to bed?" But we had Richard, what's his last name? Cum laude, something like that. Kaladi, who is the ISTE CEO, which is we have USET, theirs is nationwide. He talked about cheating in schools, and Robert was going to bring this up, and I knew it was going to be brought up, but cheating's been happening in schools since school started. Having an AI bot is not going to increase or decrease cheating.
It hasn't yet.
No, it's just going to happen.
And it's not going to change. It's not going to change. The amount of cheating that went on before AI is the same as it's going on now. Does that mean that kids can use it? Well, yeah, but they could use lots of other tools as well prior to it, and they were. Again, our focus we want to see in Box Elder School District is being able to use this tool to help educate students, to help as a companion, to help tutor, more of as a collaborative tool. So.
Statement about AI or appropriate technology use.
Yeah. Well, and one consideration just to think about is that, as we have strength training classes, they're not going to use technology. So we can't require those types of things, but we can advise on those types of
Well,
things.
and I like the idea of a more malleable
Yeah.
policy that we can adapt and use.
Yeah.
But I also would like our teachers to be cohesive
Correct.
in what they're doing.
So with that, We are working to contract with School AI to get a chat bot that has parameters around it. And I know some of you went to Jordan and had the opportunity to, but if you have your phones with you and you want to scan that QR code, there's one behind you and there's one there. I created a chat bot that I would send to teachers. And one thing that School AI, and I've talked with School AI since the beginning of the school year and talked about some of these things, but one thing that they do, and it's funny the way they say it, but we try to make it middle school boy proof. And so what they try to do is make it so that they can't interact with it in an inappropriate way. And so this code right here will take you to one that you could create a lesson plan with, and it'll walk you through. And if I went through it and I tried to break it, in fact, I even said, hey, what's the score of the Jazz game last night? Which I knew they lost because that's the season, but it said, I see that you have an interest in sports, but let's get back to this. Well, on the teacher report, it reported to me that Dave has an interest in sports, so you might want to talk to him or give him a topic related to sports. And I was like, that's awesome. I didn't even have to, like, it analyzed what they were talking about and gave that information to me. So if we don't have time, you don't have to play with it. You can if you want. It's in the minutes for the board meeting. But that's kind of the idea. We're moving forward. It's brand new. Technology, if it's 8 months old, it's old and out of date. And so you think AI bots have been around for, I think, ChatGPT came out 16 months ago. So it's like on its second and third phase.
I was just going to say, my daughter's in 5th grade, and her teacher, they were able to chat with a bot about history, and she was saying stupid things. I mean, she told me what she said, and it kept coming back to what it should be, but she loved it. It was such a great activity for her, and as a 5th grader, trying to, like, she was trying to get him. I don't even remember who she was talking to or what about, but
because it was set up as a historical character, right?
Yes. And so it was a historical character, and so she was able to. I mean, and she learned things from it and enjoyed it, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, Keith and I actually went into her classroom one day and saw how it was being used, and kids were asking math questions, and it was personalizing the way it responded to them according to the way they interacted with it. So it wasn't a blanket, like everybody that asks this question gets this answer. It interacts with them in a different way. So are there any other questions? Yeah. Hey, Brian, can you turn on your mic? Robert will still.
Good job.
Thanks.
So you are trying to establish a standard for the district
my goal is to train teachers and students how to use it appropriately. The standard, I'm trying to establish a standard, yes. A policy, no. But I'm trying to establish a standard on the correct way to use it.
But I mean, there are a lot of different chatbots that you can use, right? And
correct.
So you don't think that it would be good for us to establish the best one or one that everybody uses?
Yes, so we're purchasing School AI, which is this one right here, which is, yes, they're out of Lehigh.
You're not going to say everybody has to use this.
I am.
Oh, you are. We are going to say that.
Yes, yes. Yes.
That will be the
Because
standard.
that gives us that consistency framework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we were just talking about, and a consistent way to use it. They will have lots of ways of using it, but it will
be the standard for our district.
And I only want students to be able to use a chat bot with parameters.
Yeah.
I don't want a student to just go in and use it however they want, because they can talk about whatever they want. But in School AI, you have to set, in fact, they've set parameters that even if you don't set anything up, it'll only act appropriately interact with students appropriately. But then on top of that, a teacher can set even more limited standards on the way it will interact with them.
But right now, everybody's free to use whatever right now.
Correct.
Until you establish that, and then.
Right.
Okay. And when is that?
Our funding from the state should be here by, I'll say, the end of next week, and then we'll have that contract signed and paid for. And so, for sure, by the beginning of next school year, we'll have that in place. Right now, we have some some pilot accounts that I've sent out to some teachers to try and use it that I know are using chatbots. I've said, hey, can you use this instead? So obviously I can't know every teacher and what they're doing, but the ones that they've said, what can I use? I've sent them this. Yes.
So money.
Uh-huh.
So is the state covering all of this, or what kind of money are we talking for a contract?
So Allison left. Allison and I have 2-3 grants that we have. So our DTL grant, we're going to use part of that. And then Allison has her digital teaching and learning grant. And then Allison has a computer science grant. And so we're going to use those two to buy a 3-year contract for this. Yeah. So.
Hey, thank you, David.
Okay.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. A lot of good information.
And since he brought up middle school boys, I'm going to have him test this QR code in IT staff. I think we'll be able to break it.
Okay. Jason, did you have something to say?
Bus, the drivers are driving, and it will watch for unsafe driving. For example, if a driver picks up a phone, it'll automatically recognize they've touched their phone and pick it up, record that and send it to me with the video and everything and the timestamp. And so Alpine District is using that currently now. And they actually put it in all their buses and their white fleet so that they could watch for unsafe. And so you can program.
We're in truck driving solo.
Yeah. So anyway, AI's.
That's good to know. Hey, thank
Sorry,
you.
one other thing. When you say AI, there's artificial intelligence, there's adaptive intelligence, there's assistive intelligence, and so there is a huge gamut of what people will say. Oh, this program has AI. Some of them are correct and some of them are not. So when you hear that and you hear, oh, we're using AI in the classroom, not all textbooks, not all curriculum have true AI models. They have a if-then statement put into their program, which is not an AI model. Just so you know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go on to our monthly financial report. Dave Roberts, our business administrator.
Hey, thank you. Hey, I apologize for my voice, so hopefully you guys will appreciate the fact I'm actually speaking a little softer tonight. So anyway, hey, the financials look really well. I highlighted a couple areas that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I felt like since the financials are doing pretty well, that maybe I could take just a minute each board meeting to just educate you on a couple pieces of the financial report so that you guys would understand what those compromise of or what items may be charged to those programs. So if you will go to page 2 and under operations and maintenance, I've highlighted repairs. And the reason I highlighted this is because I wanted you guys to know why this was over budget. So we have our normal items that usually get charged into that repair account, which has been consistent for this year. However, we did have our main server that handles our U drive, which is our shared drive in the district, which is where everybody saves their document. It's accessible by every person in the district, the U drive is, and it's secured based off of what access you have to what departments and stuff like that. So you don't have security to every item in there, but for myself, I have security for the business office, to transportation folder, to the child nutrition folder. One of those is the fact that we have a storage device that we need to maintain. And just based off age, every once in a while you have to replace software and hardware. And 332,000 of that is it 548 or 49? 545, thank you. It's pretty sad when I have to have older people tell me what the small numbers say. Hey, I'm just saying, I can feel horrible. I feel really, anyway, still 332,000 of that is for that. So it's just so you guys know. I have a pair on, Canty, that's the problem. All right, so normally in operations and maintenance repairs, that would be items that come up that get broken and stuff like that. But occasionally, because the IT department is under the same function as operations, you will see replacement of hardware items in the IT department show up in this function, just so you guys know. Okay? The other item I just wanted to bring your attention to, just because we have historically spent more money than what we've received in revenue in child nutrition. Just wanted to highlight that this year looks like it will be a year that we may actually be in the positive with revenue. And if you look at what we received from state reimbursement already this year compared to the same time last year, we're almost double. And we've already exceeded the total amount that we received in revenue from state sources last year at this time of year. And we still have basically 2 more months of students' lunches to go. So I think that was a positive. Okay. Any questions? And if you guys don't want me to educate you on any of this stuff, you can just tell me, Dave, shut up.
Good, that's good.
Okay. All right, now, the other item that's not, I don't know what happened, but I sent a copy of the appraisal to Marcy, and somehow it didn't get in board book. But I did send it to you in email. So if you guys want to pull that up, you can. But it's very simple. What they did is they went out and did a sales comparison of other buildings, schools that actually sold. Now, that being said, none of the schools that have sold that they did a comparable to are older than 1997. They're all 1997 or newer. Ours is in 1962. It's 42,000 square feet sitting on 8.24 acres. The appraisal came in. No, I'm just giving you appraised value. Nobody, I have not talked to anybody that wants to buy this. I haven't even made anybody known that it's up for sale. So anyway, on the appraisal value came in with land and property at $4,220,000. Now that is almost double what they appraised Mountain View for. So when I called and talked to Dave, and he told me 2 things. First of all, just value of all property, real property, has gone up tremendously in 2 years. Okay? And you guys have seen that in your own home appraisals. And he says the surrounding homes in that area are a higher medium value than the ones around Mountain View. Therefore, you're going to have a different socioeconomic group of people building homes in that area, which means their value of their homes are going to be more to kind of add to the existing environment there. The other thing he said too was it's an excellent location if you're commuting, because you just come off that street and you go straight west and you're onto I-15, whether you're going to the Tremont area north or south. So he said that access is what a lot of people look for, because if they have to spend 20 minutes getting from their house to a thoroughfare and they can just jump on that and be to I-15 in 5 minutes, it's a major selling point. He also said that that may be true. They may have to use their horns to go a little faster. That being said, they also said it's a great location if somebody wanted to develop to put in, Nancy, more townhomes and apartments. So anyway, so it's at that value. Now, I went and divided that up with Dave, the appraiser, and he says we could get 15 building lots. If a developer bought it, they could get 15 building lots on it. If you sold the lots for the going price of $120,000, that's only $1.8 million. So if there's nobody that wants the building, you have to realize that this appraisal includes the building. And you may have a difficult time finding somebody that wants to occupy an old school. So that was kind of the frame of reference. Anyway, any questions in regards to that appraisal? Okay, thank you.
I think really quickly, if I could, in the back next to Robert is Sherry Harper.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you all know her, but she is our accountant. And Dave he's gone next month for our board meeting. And so she's come today just to kind of see how it works out. And she'll be sitting there next month and giving you this report.
And kudos to her, she's not asleep. Good job.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Okay, any board committee reports this past month? Okay.
I did.
Is there one?
I
Karen?
was just going to say, I don't know about a committee report, but I did want to report that Janelle Jeffries, who we work with at the Boys and Girls Club, will be recognized this month at the Chamber dinner as the Business Person of the Year. So we are
That's
very
very
fortunate
nice.
to work with her. And then also just a heads up that the Boys and Girls fundraiser dinner in an auction will be June 21st, if you want to put that on your
Okay.
calendars.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Okay,
So,
Nancy?
Richardland, they have announced that there will be no tuition increases for the upcoming year. And in fact, all of the trade tech colleges in the state are announcing no tuition increases. We're very proud of that. While the colleges and all are shooting sky high. But so you can go to school pretty much cheap as you want at
Okay.
tech.
Sounds like a good plan. That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy and Karen, both of you. Okay, our student board member report, Alyssa Lyman.
Okay, sorry, I'm like trying to get over a cold, so I sound a little weird right now. Okay, so with Bear River, they said things have been kind of slow going there since it's more towards the end of the year. They just got back from spring break. The main thing that they're doing right now is spring sports, and that all their teams are doing well. They're also starting to plan the end of the year stuff, so like the senior parties, the last minute activity weeks for their schools. And then in both Bear River and Box Elder, the clubs have been active and doing their competition. So a couple weeks ago was FBLA, the week before was FCCLA, TSA, and I'm sure there's another one that I can't remember. And then this week is HOSA. And there's definitely a lot more that I can't recall right now. But like earlier, they're all placing really high, and it's honestly really fun. I love going to these conferences. I went to the FBLA one, and then I'm about to go to the HOSA one too. They're really fun because you meet a lot of different people through the whole state while also being able to learn different topics. And it also plays heavily into the CTE pathways too, because those who are in these clubs, it's a specific career path, and so those kids are also taking the CTE classes and getting those pathways. And then with Box Elder, right now we're in the middle of a class royale week where we have activities each night and dress up days. So tonight I think was ultimate frisbee, like a competition, so it's between the grades. There's activities going on the rest of the week, and there might be some next week too, I'm not entirely sure. And then our spring sports are doing good too. I know right now our boys soccer team is undefeated. Our lacrosse teams are doing really good, same with boys tennis and our track team. And then our dances have been doing good too. I know back last year there was like a fire drill and everyone was really happy. Our Sweethearts this year did not have that. So yeah, that's what I have today. So
Okay.
Wait,
Yes.
there's also a lovely picture of Alyssa in the Brigham paper at the FBLA. I cut it out and forgot to bring it, but cute picture. You looked good and you represented us well.
Oh, is that in today's paper?
No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well, we got that one, didn't we? Is it the service project?
I don't remember. I just put it on the table and promptly forgot it as I was
Oh,
driving out.
because we cut one out and gave to her, so I think it was it. Anyway, well, you're in the paper a lot, I guess. Okay, so that's good. Okay, we'll have to check that out. We'll have to check that out. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Alyssa. Appreciate
Hey,
that.
can I ask about how Zoom meeting dress up was today? That's what I said, like, that was the theme for today was Zoom meeting, so business on the top, party, like, casual on the bottom.
I will say they didn't let everyone know in time. Like it was because it's like right after spring break, they forgot to like post about it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like a little slow going. But I was really impressed by how many people committed today. Like all the teachers showed up in like basketball shorts, sandals, and then they had like their suit coats, their ties, their button-up shirts, and then you have all the girls have like these nice blouses, their hair's done, makeup's done, and then they have just random sweatpants and sandals on, and I'm like, I love this so much.
Hey, that's great. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to our policy review. All of our policies are on second reading. Do we have any questions or comments on any of those?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Okay.
On policy 4060, the high school graduation, I received several people calling me about this over the month, about at the end where if a student does the, I don't know what we call it, the graduation with the 24. Yeah. They asked if we could reconsider doing that as letting them still graduate from their high school. And I think it kind of plays to Connie's point that she talked to earlier about individual plans for our students. And if a student's individual plan calls for them to graduate early and they've done the work and they've done the majority of the classes from their high school, it is a pride thing. They want to belong to that high school. They want to have their graduation certificate belong to that high school. I had a mother call and tell me about how it really helped her student that was able to graduate early and then get a job so that he could help pay for his college. And so I made a few phone calls. I called teachers. I called some other parents, and the teachers didn't even know that it was an issue, why we would not have them graduate from that high school that they participated in. And so I'm just wondering if we can rethink that and maybe just go back to the way it was, the crossed out red, so that our students who are doing their work at a particular high school get to graduate from that high school. If we have the option for them to do that, that's part of their individual plan, their CCNR, then I think, I don't know that there's any damage in letting them graduate from their high school and have that same thing on their, to be able to say that they graduated from the high school that they attended and they did 80% of the work. We have students who do a lot of work, classes online, and we don't penalize them. So I guess I'm asking if we can rethink that.
Karen, the crossed out line, it's a Box Elder School District Diploma. It is not a specific school. So the line, so it just says you graduated from Box Elder, and it's not a school specific. So if you ask to reinstate that, it's not an individual school diploma. Is that correct? It's a general, you graduated from Box Elder, which is kind of like receiving a Sunrise one.
Just clarification for people that may have asked this question. After talking to school counselors and school administrators that have to deal with the whole graduation, credits, just to put in perspective what 30 credits versus 24 credit means. That's 12 classes. So if Heidi Jo and I are classmates, I have to go to 12 more classes to get a Box Elder High School diploma than she would. And 12 classes, you take 18 to try, so it's 2/3 of a year less of school that a 24 credit diploma is required to take. After talking with school administrators, school counselors, it's a pain to try to manage 24 and 30. What we're asking to do is to go back before what the school board had before pandemic. That's all we're doing. We're saying the pandemic has rolled. It was done for a time when kids had to take 5 days off or 10 days off, and they were really worried about credits, etc. That time is kind of set. And going back to, all this is readdressing 2020 February, before the pandemic happened, where our alternate high school at the time was Dale Young. That's who offered a alternate minimum 24 credit diploma. That's all our recommendation is to go back to the way it was. It is unfair. I know it feels good that I can have everything about Bear River High, but my classmate has to go to 30, who's right next to me in the same class. It's unfair and it's problematic. I think it's great that kids want to have 24 credits. If they want to do 24 minimum and they want to get off into the job force, they should. I don't think they should get rewarded with the same graduation, with the same parties, with the same everything that 98% of the people are getting 30 credits. Now, that's just the experience of school counselors, school administrators, and me personally, but it doesn't mean that's what, as a board, you have to approve. We're just asking you to go back before the pandemic, when you made the exception, to go back to the way it was. We still offer 24 credit,
Right.
but your classmate cannot be going to 30. But that's just,
And some of those 20, some of the difference between the 24 and the 30 are people taking release time, people for seminary and things like that.
no, release time doesn't give credit. There's no high school credit given.
The 24 is really the basic.
24 is what the state
core
says, the
that you
bare
have.
minimum that you
Yes.
can offer.
Yes.
And then the extras, all of the electives that there are at our big comprehensive high schools.
And I would add that this is a choice the student makes and that their parents make. And they decide which diploma they want. And I appreciate the information given just minutes ago, because there is a difference. And there is a level of discipline that takes place when a child says, I think, I've been with this class of 2024. I'm going to graduate from Box Elder High School. And I think that I am just going to give it my all. And I'm going to go for 30. And hats off to that student. However, there might be another student that says, you know what, I'm going to go with 24, and I'm okay to graduate from Sunrise High. That's a choice that a student makes amongst all the other choices that we make in our lives. And I think that it's honorable to be okay with a student's choice. I think it's okay.
I think that it is great that we do have choices, and we've talked a lot about thinking outside the box, offering 0 hour, things like that. I think that this is one of those discussions of thinking outside of the box and honoring students' choices and honoring the fact that they would like to graduate from a particular high school. That shows a lot of buy-in, I think, from the students. And so, again,
Well, in this particular case, when they did get a 24 credit diploma, they got a Box Elder School District diploma.
right, and I get that. So
They
I'm
didn't
just
get
saying,
Box Elder High.
Can we rethink it as an option of thinking outside of the box?
So if I run faster than the kid next door, but he thinks outside the box, goes the wrong way, makes a U-turn and comes back, should we get the same reward?
I know when I went to.
I understand your concern.
I just
but
know
we
I
do
went to
have
Utah State,
a
and
whole
I
lot
had
of
a lot
kids.
different. I had a different experience plan than those that graduated in engineering.
But
and
you
yet
still took
we
the
both
required-
graduated from.
You took the required number of classes and the required program
For my
that you
program.
needed to graduate
And-
in, which is great. But we've got kids who are choosing to go a shorter, different route, and it's not equitable.
Well, and my opinion is, like I said, I love that we have a 24 credit diploma for kids that need to get to work or want to graduate. That is fabulous. And at the end of the day, 2 weeks after graduation, I don't think it's going to matter where they graduated from. I'm proud of them for getting their diploma, but the fact of the matter is there are requirements set in order to graduate from Box Elder High School and Bear River High School. These are the requirements that have been set forth, and these are the students. And we're talking a really small percentage of students that are not graduating with their high schools or doing this 24 credit. And we are celebrating them as graduates as well. But the requirements for Box Elder High Schooler and Bear River High School are this, and the requirements for a 24 credit are this. And when we blend the two, I think that sends a mixed message of, I think it blurs the line between what really are we requiring. Like if we're just going to say you're a Box Elder High School graduate, but your requirements are different, I think that's too fuzzy. That's my opinion.
Can I add just another on a personal note? This year, I graduated in 1974. I graduated in 1974. This is my 50th class reunion. I am in charge of that reunion at Grantsville High School. I want you to know that I invited every single person that we went to school with, whether they graduated from Grantsville High School or not, because they were in school with me as a first grader, they were invited to my high school graduation. So from when I listened to this argument, I'm like, you know what? I am going to include that individual because they're my classmate. Even though they didn't graduate and walk across like some of us did, I still say, you're my classmate. High five to you. I can't wait to meet you on May 4th. We're going to have a 50th class reunion, and I don't care. Thank you, Julie. I don't really care whether you walked with me or not. You're still my classmate. So I think maybe that helps. I hope that's my intention, is that as time goes on, we still love those individuals that we went to school with.
I'm glad you're doing that. And I hope that that happens. I just think that it would be nice if the students who do 80% of their work at a certain high school could have that high school name on their diploma. And it does matter. I am still very proud to be a Box Elder B, even 2 weeks after my graduation. But that was just my thoughts. And again, I don't have any kids involved in this system, but I have received several calls about it.
I would like to make a motion that we pass the policies in second reading.
I'll second it.
Okay, Tiffany Summers has made the motion, and we got 2 seconds here, didn't we? Okay. Nancy Kennedy has made the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed, with the note that I think that high school graduation should be able, that those students that graduate meeting the requirement of 24 should be able to have their high school diploma from the high school they went to school at.
Okay, noted. But the motion, the policy's passed on second reading.
Karen, do you want to just speak that you only oppose that one policy?
Yeah, I only oppose that one, but I don't think I can vote just one out. So that's why I wanted it noted, because the motion was for all of them. So I'm just saying the reason I opposed was for one, and with the reasons. So the others were fine.
Okay, so now we are moving along to our board discussion items. We have our board graduation assignments, which is coming up in May and June. First of all, we have Box Elder, and anyone have a student graduating this year? Julie. So Julie, okay. If you could do Box Elder, we would appreciate that. Thank you, Julie. Bear River, I'm going to ask Connie if she would do Bear River, okay? And then for Sunrise, I was going to ask Karen if you would do Sunrise this year.
You bet.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Connie, and thank you, Julie. Okay, that went really smooth. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Wade, could I have just a moment talking about graduations? Sure. I've been concerned for a number of years about being a grandpa, and if perchance 2 of my grandchildren had a graduation on the same day. Well, it just so happened that they do this year. And it's on the 29th, but the gods, I guess, smiled down upon me. And Corner Canyon is graduating at 2 o'clock at the Huntsman Center on the 29th. And Bear Lake High School is graduating at the Paris, Idaho Tabernacle at 7 o'clock. So if I go at 2 o'clock, I can get out of there by probably 4 or 5 and make it to Paris. I can do it, Jason. And I won't take the wife leave. The reason I bring that up is because that's the night of the Bear River High School graduation. So I'm going to ask to be excused that night. I'll send a letter to the administration and ask them to, because I know the superintendent always gets mentioned. I always feel why I get mentioned, I don't know, but I will send that letter. So, and I do have another circumstance in 6 years. Of course, I have 3 12-year-old grandkids, and I don't know if I'll be able to pull that one off. So, well, they're all in different schools, and that's what's so weird about this one. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Steve, and best of luck to you on that day. It'll go great. Yeah, true. Okay, we're going to go to our board article reading. We've been wanting to do this article for about the last 3 months, so we thought we'll just quickly do it tonight. And then we will not have one next month because it is the month that we honor our retirees, and that's a busy night, so we will not have anything for next month, okay? So our full-day kindergarten helps close the achievement gaps. We'll just take just a couple of minutes, and anyone want to review this and go over it with us?
You know what, actually, there's 2 articles that were provided for us.
Right.
The first one is from the National Education Association, Great Public Schools for Every Student. The topic is full-day kindergarten helps close the achievement gap. As all of us know, there is those who feel like there is not a difference between those that attend full day and those that attend part day. But there was, gosh, my whole article is so marked up. I chose this one part. It says full-day kindergarten not only boosts student academic achievement, it also strengthens their social and emotional skills. Amen. It goes on to just say that students in full-day kindergarten receive significantly higher basic skill test scores in 3rd, 5th, and 7th grades. It continues to really be a benefit to students. As I read these articles, I was like, I just wish that every mother that brought their child to register for kindergarten could read this one article right here. The other article is just as good, so that they can kind of decide for themselves, do I want this benefit for my child? I just was so impressed with the data and the information given to us as board members. I'm thrilled that our students today have an option like that.
Okay, thank you, Connie. Any other comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
In that same article, it said that kindergarten should be funded in the same manner as the rest of public schools, but the money should not come from, but the money should come from new funding sources. It was my recollection when they gave us all-day kindergarten, they didn't really give us any new funding, did they?
At half-day kindergarten, they funded us at 0.55, and now we get a full WPU.
But as far as for rooms to put it in and
No,
the broader.
you're correct. Yeah.
I mean, so there is a cost to, I mean, I'm not saying for or against, I'm just saying I wish they would have given us the funding to fully fund
That's
it.
probably in the case of, I don't know how many portables, but some portables because of kindergarten, full-day
Because of
kindergarten.
that, so.
Yeah.
That's a good
Can I just add a note to that since funding came
Yes.
up? They do reimburse us the full WPU on October 1st. However, we have about 30 students that move to full day after that the district does that we don't hold those students at harm. We allow them to change and switch back and forth, although we're not required to, so that they get whatever option they want at whatever time is best for them. And that's our plan moving forward. To support parents making the adjustment if they need to. I'm partially because.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, it's a wonderful article. If you didn't get a chance, both of them, if you didn't get a chance to read them, please go over them because they're very informative. Okay, now we need a motion and a second on our consent items. Okay, Nancy's made the motion and Brian Smith the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. That's good. Suggestions for future board meetings? Anything there?
Next month, we're having the board agenda schedule brought forward, and I have a conflict on the July board meeting. And I would hope that you'd all look at that, and maybe we could do it a week later, maybe. And you can look between now and certainly next month when we approve that.
Okay.
The next Wednesday. I think so.
I've got vacation scheduled that week, so if we change it, I'd ask that we change it to another one, because I made my vacation based on the regular meetings.
I think either night, well, the 24th is a holiday.
Everybody heard that, right? I said Superintendent Carlson's right. It's on
Thank
record.
you.
It's on record.
Thank you.
Can we just move it the day before, the day
No, the night,
after?
the day before, day after, it's just that particular day. Does anybody have any? I appreciate that.
Okay, so how about the 9th?
The Tuesday?
Everybody okay with the 9th? 9th, same time, just the 9th instead of the 10th?
Now, we generally
Okay.
have a work session in the past, is that?
We do, we'll have it on the same day, how's that?
On the 9th?
We'll get it all done on the 9th, okay?
Very good.
So you want to have it start like it?
One-ish?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
1, 2.
Sure.
No, it's this, it'll be this July.
It's this July.
I know, but this says, I know, I was wondering that.
Oh, maybe,
This says July 2025, but it's not the 9th, it's the 10th of this year, so I don't know what
well, that,
the, this is 2025, I don't know what that's all.
I've got to check, maybe, I think we start, we passed the calendar to start July's. That was a typo, that's a typo that we need to change back to the 9th.
That's the correct date, except it's
Oh, okay,
now that we moved it.
very good.
But it's correct, we're gonna put it on the 9th, is that right? Because that's what it
Thank
says on
you.
my
Thank you very
calendar,
much.
so we're okay? We're good?
We definitely want you in attendance.
Thank you.
Okay, so our July and then our work session will be earlier that day. 1 o'clock seems really early, I don't know. We'll have
Yeah, you
to
can, yeah, we
work
can
that
talk-
through,
We can
okay?
talk about that, certainly.
We'll talk about that and decide what time on the work session. Okay. Okay, thank you all, appreciate that. Upcoming events are the graduation, and remember, next month, we are at Harris, is that correct, for the retirees? Young? Oh, we're at Young, that's right, we were at Harris last year, okay. So at Young, for the retirees, board handbook, nothing there. So we just need a motion to go into our closed session.
I move we go into closed session to discuss real property.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Okay, Brian Smith has made the motion. Who did the second? Oh, Danielle Wright, the second. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Karen.
Julie Taylor, yes.
Wade Hyde, yes?
Connie Archibald, yes?
Danielle Wright, yes.
Nancy Kennedy, yes?
Okay, we are now into closed session.